Hi folks, so I'm going to play this through, see if you can pick up the Enneagram 4 related bits of this. So here we go.
Thursday, April the 4th. I had a terrible session with Leonora. I went into her room with the self-esteem of an anorexic aphid and came out feeling worse. My low self-esteem on arrival was due to an acrimonious phone conversation I'd had with my mother earlier. She had rung the office to ask me if I would like to go to a party given by Barry Kent to celebrate the success of Dork's Diary. I said to my mother I would sooner wash a corpse. My mother accused me of petty jealousy and then had a tantrum and recited my faults. Arrogance, overweening pride, snobbery, pretension, phony intellectualism, wimpishness, etc., etc. I repeated this to Leonora, who said, I suggest that you take on board what your mother is saying. I also suggest that you go to the party. She said that she had bought 5 copies of Dork's Diary. I was totally gobsmacked. When she said that it was time to go, I refused to leave my chair. I said, I can't bear the thought of you enjoying Barry Kent's work. Leonora said, tough, give me £30 and leave. I said, no, I am totally sexually obsessed by you. I think about you constantly. I have revealed my innermost feelings to you. Leonora said, yours is a standard reaction. You'll get over it. I said, Leonora, I feel betrayed. I refuse to be treated like an example from a textbook. Leonora stood up and said, ours is a professional relationship, Mr. Mole. It could never be anything else. Come and see me next Thursday. OK, I said, take your 30 pieces of silver. I flung a Market Harborough Building Society cheque, made out for £30, onto the desk and left, slamming the door. If my father had allowed me to abandon that dummy in my own time, I'm convinced I would now be enjoying perfect mental health.
Right then, so I'm going to play this from the beginning and point out what I see as Enneagram 4 related.
Thursday, April the 4th. I had a terrible session with Leonora. I went into her room with the self-esteem of an anorexic aphid and came out feeling worse.
That can be many types, but I can talk about the self-esteem contradiction within the Enneagram 4 fixated person. So there was a theory in psychology that you have someone's self-image and then where someone would like to be. So you have some people who are, and most people, sort of happy with their lot, and they have a sort of self-image. Oh, I'm a regular person. I fit in and all of that. And so, but with the Enneagram 4 fixated person, their sort of self-image is here. So sort of they see themselves as superior to other people, exceptional. So you have the egotism there. But the ambition is to be up there. And so they feel inferior to the status that they want to achieve because of the ambition aspect. And so sometimes you get a bit of that 4-wing even there. Even if they're 4-wing 5, you have that secondary wing. So there's the pretentiousness and the very high where they want to be at in terms of where exceptionality. And so this is why you can have an Enneagram 4 who is doing quite well, it's better than average, but they want to be super exceptional.
My low self-esteem on arrival was due to an acrimonious phone conversation I'd had with my mother earlier. She had rung the office to ask me if I would like to go to a party given by Barry Kent to celebrate the success of Dork's Diary. I said to my mother I would sooner wash a corpse. My mother accused me of petty jealousy.
Well, really, envy. So, and again, but they have that superiority complex over other people, and it's envious of where he wants to be.
And then had a tantrum and recited my faults. Arrogance, overweening pride, snobbery, pretension, phony intellectualism, wimpishness.
Right, so there's a lot of traits there. Let's see if I can remember them. Arrogance, overweening pride, pretentiousness, phony intellectualism. Yeah, a lot of Enneagram 4 traits there. The pretentiousness is key. Again, it's where he wants to be. I'm a believer in singular they. No, I am not a believer in singular they. I'm a believer in plural they and plural them. There we go. The pride, a lot of that, there's the egotism of the Enneagram 4. This is why I believe it is impossible, not just for a guardian to be 4 fixated, but to have the 4 in the trifix. Because for an SFJ, 2 is going to be in there. And for an STJ, 3 is going to be in there. The 4 would have to beat out the 4 and 3. The 4 would have to beat out the 3, the 3 and the 2. And that's not going to happen. Plus, the guardian wants to fit in. Yeah. But there's a bit where Adrian Mole says that he will never read a bestseller on principle that he won't like it because ordinary people read bestsellers. And if it appeals to the masses, it cannot appeal to him. So you get this bit with Enneagram 4 is when they're not creative, this kind of person sees him or herself as having refined tastes. And you have the snobbishness in there. And so you get a lot of these people who, with the modern art, and it's like only they can appreciate the modern art because they have a refined taste. Let's see if there's any more Enneagram 4 stuff.
Etc., etc. I repeated this to Leonora, who said, I suggest that you take on board what your mother is saying. I also suggest that you go to the party. She said that she had bought 5 copies of Dork's diary. I was totally gobsmacked. When she said that it was time to go, I refused to leave my chair. I said, I can't bear the thought of you enjoying Barry Kent's work.
Especially, again, someone who is seen as below the Enneagram 4 fixated person, and then that person has success. But again, you can have the beliefs of, again, when the Enneagram 4 fixated person is particularly unhealthy, oh, that just goes, that's the common appeal of that kind of writing. And if they get really unhealthy, it's like, well, if I'm successful, then it has mass appeal. If it has mass appeal, it can't be good. It has to be refined just by a select few of highly cultured people would appreciate it. And it needs to be ahead of its time. And so the character of Adrian Mole is, and so he's fixated on being avant-garde in his writing. And so he's not appealing to any kind of audience. And it's going to be avant-garde in terms of style rather than content. Superficial originality, I suppose. Yeah, so he's an exemplar of the Enneagram 4 fixated person that needs to learn the craft. And in his case, don't write rhymes. Adrian, write actual poetry. And read Story by Robert McKee. There we go. The second attempt at this video. I had sound problems in the first attempt.